What's up guys, Rogue9 here, and we're doing some more Payday 2 masks. Today's masks might not be quite as obscure, but we'll still do them. Today's video will be featuring not one, but two different masks, because they're kind of connected. And by kind of, I mean completely. And as I'm sure you will have guessed by now, both masks are tied to the Terminator film franchise. And these masks are of course Terminator and Robo Arnold. Let's examine these masks one by one, and why don't we start with Terminator? Of course, the name of these stylish sunglasses gives a very strong indication as to their origin, but beyond that we can also find a few hints in the description, even though most of it is quite obscure. An assassin from a distant land built like a machine, fully armoured and very tough, and once removed from this place another would replace him. All of this does sound an awful lot like the Terminator, despite the fact that the description seems to be referring to a human rather than a robot. If we look at the shape of the glasses, sort of squarish, flat across the top with no rims, it's clear that these are a fairly accurate copy of the glasses worn by Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in the first Terminator film from 1984. And as daft as a robot wearing sunglasses at night may seem, there are at least some parts of the film where it actually makes sense for the Terminator to be wearing these sunglasses. You wouldn't really want to be walking around outside with your face looking like that, would you now? And that leads us quite nicely onto our next mask, Robo Arnold. With this mask, the name, the look and the description leave absolutely no doubt as to what film they are referring to. In the description, we're told about the fictitious Exterminator movie series featuring a time-traveling cyborg. The description then goes on to make fun of the somewhat complex time-traveling element to the Terminator series by claiming that the Exterminator's target is trying to steal a chip left by her son, who was also her father, in the past. And to wrap things up, we learn that the Exterminator's catchphrase is "Await my return."
I'll be back.
Oh, I see what they did there. Very clever. The mask itself bears a fairly close resemblance to Arnold Schwarzenegger and shows the cyborg character's face in sort of a semi-destroyed state, similar to the way it ends up in most of the films. And with that, let's finally get to those films. As of now, the franchise encompasses 5 films, released over the space of just over 30 years. As mentioned earlier, it all starts out in 1984 with The Terminator, and a mere 7 years later in 1991 we get Terminator 2 Judgment Day, followed in 2003, 12 years later, by Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. Only 6 years after that in 2009, wow, so soon, we have Terminator Salvation, and then Terminator Genisys in 2015, another 6 years after that. So I guess what, next film coming out somewhere between 2021 and 2027, I suppose. As you will probably know, the plot of all of the films revolves around the downfall of man and the corresponding rise of the machines. All the machines need to do is wipe away the last remnants of the human resistance, and the least convoluted way they could come up with to achieve this was to take a cybernetic killer assassin robot and send him back through time, and of course, as we all know, time travel is the easiest way to keep things simple. When it comes to the critical and audience reception of this franchise, there is a definite trend. The Rotten Tomatoes scores for each film in order of appearance are 100%, 93, 70, 33 and 26. Metacritic scores are 83, 75, 66, 49 and 38. In terms of the financial success, this story is slightly different. Even though the original Terminator film only took in around $78 million at the box office, its relatively tiny budget of only $6.5 million makes it the most successful film out of the bunch. The biggest revenue was generated by Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and it came in at around $520 million worldwide box office sales. The least successful film was Terminator Salvation, that is number 4, which at a total revenue of $371 million didn't even manage to double its budget. And last but not least, what are my thoughts on the films? Well, this is probably the first time where I really have to say I kind of disagree with the general consensus. Don't get me wrong, the original 1984 film is great, and for its time, it was amazing. And even though it holds up quite well and you can still go back and watch it today, I still think the film is just very, very 80s. I mean, look at that hair. And what is up with these guys? Red eyeliner, tire marks on his face, what? And those mid-80s special effects as well. And on the flip side, we have the two more modern films, Terminator Salvation and Terminator Genisys, with 33% and 26% on Rotten Tomatoes respectively, and I simply have to say I don't quite get it. I perfectly enjoyed both of these films, especially Terminator Genisys. I suppose one of the reasons for the low scores might have been the burden of high expectations, but if you go in with an open and neutral mind and just expect a good summer Hollywood blockbuster action movie, then I would say that's exactly what you're going to get. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. What's your favorite Terminator movie? One of the new ones or the originals? Let me know in the comments section below. And with that, guys, we've managed to tick off another couple of great masks featured in Payday 2, paying tribute to some pretty great movies. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next episode.